Imagine having to live a perfectly normal life, all while knowing that every single thing that you see and hear are being watched by your enemy. That very nightmare is the Copenhagen Test. So season one takes us from what is an initial biohack conspiracy that reveals that the people that we think we can trust are the very ones that are stabbing us in the back with a knife. And it ends by asking if privacy is something that is a privilege or something that we have to earn back. In this episode, we're going to break down the entire season, the truth behind the Copenhagen Test title, and why Simu Lee's character may be the most tragic spy that we've seen almost probably ever. So let's talk the Copenhagen Test season one. So the season drops us into the life of Alexander Hale. Is an analyst for the orphanage. It's a top secret spy agency that spies on other spies. The premiere is basically simple but terrifying in my opinion. Alexander Hale basically wakes up one day, his brain is hacked and somebody is seeing through his eyes and hearing through his ears, and he has no clue who or what is going on. The catch to it all though, the agency that he works for, the orphanage, doesn't necessarily want to scrub this from his brain. They actually ask him if he wants to keep it and keep the feed open. But in order for him to keep the feed open, he has to go on about his life, his everyday life, as it's perfectly normal, like basically as if he doesn't know about the live feed that's streaming through his brain. And this is all basically to bait the hackers into revealing themselves. That way they can be captured, but they don't want the hackers to know that they're being tracked. So they want Alexander to go about his daily life just, oh, well, whatever, just pretending to be clueless about his brain being hacked. This is basically, in my opinion, the Truman Show meets Jason Bourne in a TV version. Over the 8 episodes, we're going to follow over the 8 episodes, we follow Alexander and his handler, sometimes girlfriend, Melissa, along with another analyst, and she's basically the MVP of the show, named Parker. And they basically try to crack the clues and solve the mystery of who the hackers are and what is their ultimate goal by hacking his mind. And doing all of that while not giving themselves away. So sounds pretty easy, right? So you guys tell me, if you had to keep up a fake daily routine knowing that somebody is watching you on the other end, how long do you think you guys will hold up? Myself, personally, I would give myself maybe 6 to 8 hours. Probably tops, because I don't know. I would probably give myself away doing something stupid. I would probably start talking to them through my eyes into the mirror or something. We get bored sometimes. But before we crack open the spoilers, if you love deep dives just like this and other spy thrillers and anything television or movies, please hit that subscribe button and don't forget to hit that like and comment, because I do respond back as soon as I can, and I love hearing from you all. And it also lets me know that you like episodes and thrillers and TV shows and movies that I'll be talking about like this going into 2026. So now that we have all of that in your head and you've probably hit the like and subscribe button by now, let's go ahead and start talking about the Copenhagen Test. And I must give you a warning, from here on out, this is spoilers, so this is about the entire season of the Copenhagen Test. The season opens very strong, in my opinion. The biohack isn't just a technology, it's something like a body horror in a sense, because it takes over his brain. It's not mutilating him or anything, but he does start to have seizures eventually. The show does a great job of establishing all the rules and characters and everything right up front, so we know all the risk and stakes of everything that is coming down the pipeline. Alexander is basically the camera. If he looks at a classified document, the enemy sees it, they copy it, they go take care of whatever mission that they're looking to take care of. Alexander looks like a mole or a traitor. And this basically sets up the primary tension for the show. The agency treats him very, very cold, and they honestly kind of treat him like a glitching piece of hardware rather than a spy agent. And in my opinion, this may tell us that the good guys may just be a little bit more dangerous than the hackers or the bad guys that they're trying to capture. So throughout the season, we get these breadcrumbs about the title, the Copenhagen Test, and it basically refers to this past mission that Alex was on when he had to, where he thought he was on a mission and he was actually performing a test. And the test was basically save an American asset or civilian or save a child. He chose to save the child and he left the American asset behind. And to the test itself, he failed because he's supposed to bring the American asset back. But to the people that wanted to hack him, this was a good thing because this showed that he doesn't follow instructions very well. But does knowing how the tests work now change how you looked at the character of Alexander Hill? Does it make him look like a very bad spy? Even though he wasn't a spy, he was in the military at the time and he was on a mission. So he was basically following orders to a degree because he chose not to. Or does it just make him like a decent person? So while Alexander's out in the field basically risking his life for no reason because the agency, in my opinion, really didn't care much about him, at least not until the end, and I'm questioning if they cared about him then, and you'll see what I mean. All of the real detective work and the real mystery work was done by Parker. Parker is the true MVP of the show. In my opinion, she may have outshined Alexander, and this could be her show because she played just as integral of a role to the mission as he did. He was just the eyes and ears for them and the bad guys. Like, she's the only one in the show who is truly paying attention. She is the one who decodes all of Alexander's behaviors, especially his erratic behavior. She's even the one that realized that he was trying to communicate with them through their surveillance tap that, before the end, when he wants to meet basically the big boss because the hacker wants to murder the big boss. I mean, it's really just that simple. The most satisfying part to me, especially about the Parker character, was how she went from basically, I just work here, to quite literally saving the entire mission and honestly kind of saving this show, because while it is a good show, I don't think without her character, it would have been as good as it was, because I truly think the way that she portrayed this character, and when I say portraying this character, she really did a great job. And I'm talking about Sinclair Daniel as Parker. She took on this role, took it over, and made it her own thing, because I really think she could have been the star of this show. So the big twist of the season was the hacker wasn't China, it wasn't Russian, it wasn't some foreign government or even some domestic terrorist group. It was Alexander's mentor, Victor, the entire time. And that's crazy because this is the guy who brought him into the spy world. He brought his parents to America. He basically was the surrogate uncle to Alexander and Dan. All this time you were raising me to be a spy just so you could turn me into basically a super spy to use me as a surveillance system to take out whoever you want to take out in the spy world. Did the Victor reveal land for you guys? It didn't really land for me. I thought it was kind of lazy, but it fed to the story at the same time. I don't think it was a bad idea. I just think that while it wasn't a great reveal, it did help to make the story feel more personal to Alexander. It's not just your evil bad guy. It's, a little bit more personal. This is somebody who, for better words, helped raise me. But let's not stop there, because the season doesn't even end with a cure. Alexander doesn't get the nanites out of his brain, but instead they install more hardware in his brain, and they call it the governor, and it basically allows him to turn on and off the screen surveillance whenever he wants to. If it's red is off, if it's green is on. And I don't believe that he can just switch it on and off if he wants to. I think that's just what they're telling him to set us up for season 2. If there is a season 2, it was good enough, in my opinion, to get renewed for a season 2. I'm glad that they dropped it all at once and gave it to us at one time so that we could just watch it at our own speed. Because I do believe that if this was an episodic week-to-week series, it may not be as good as it was just watching it all at once, because this was a really good binge. So the final shot of the season basically pulls the camera back and we see a big screen with other people with the same technology in their mind. Nope. Alexander was not the only one. And why would he be? Because we definitely need other test subjects, because if this one dies, we need to see if the other ones are going to work. Because we did learn in the season that the technology that he was embedded with was a different version than it was initially. So this is the upgrade. He got the upgrade because the original version killed a person. So I do think that this reveal shifts this from a personal spy thriller into more of a potential revolution type show, because clearly if this gets renewed for a season 2, that we're going to see Alexander go try to potentially save these other people that have the technology in their mind. They don't know about it. Um, maybe they form their own wing or whatever of the orphanage. The orphanage will definitely probably want to bring these people in. They would love to have these people. Why wouldn't we like to have 5 or 6 people that have cameras in their heads and we can just turn them on like Wi-Fi and broadcast them from anywhere in the world, and man, we could see anything, hear anything, and not even leave a trace because there is a signal, but you're not going to be able to find it because that's probably the last thing that you're going to be thinking about when you pat somebody down for a wire to see if they're tapped. You're not going to pat their head down and get anything. So some of the things that I realized and recognized outside of that was that the show referenced a panopticon. It's basically a prison where you never know if you're being watched, so you always act like you are. And that's basically what Alex was going through in his mind. We also saw when the show would switch from Alexander's POV to the people watching him POV, but that footage would get a little grainy. Thought that was pretty cool. And then obviously the flashbacks that he kept having throughout the show of the child, in my opinion, kind of represented Alexander's innocence and maybe the person that he was trying to hold on to and maybe kind of want to be to a degree, because he was pretty innocent. All of this just happened, and he just basically kind of had to react to everything at one time as it was happening to him. So season 1 of the Copenhagen Test is very, very solid. It is an exciting, anxiety-inducing ride. It takes the spy genre, in my opinion, and strips away the glamour and all the pretty stuff and puts it in a grounded world, wondering if this could really happen. It ends basically somewhat with a bang and a clunk. But the sound of Alexander basically turning off his vision for the first time since he realized that he had it in his head was interesting because I don't believe he's just going to be able to turn it off anytime he wants to. So after watching the full season, do you think that this show works better as a one-off miniseries? Because the ending could just be the ending and they can leave it open-ended. We've seen plenty of open-ended shows before where the ending is left up to us. Scandal is one that's very popular that did that. We don't, it's left up to us to digest and decide where the characters are from there. Or you're ready to see Alexander Hale lead this cyborg rebellion against the government agencies that are trying to take over and surveil everybody in the world. And I don't think that's what's going to happen, but it would be cool to see. And last thing I will say about this show, especially if it gets a season 2, and I'm not sure how they're going to do with it. This honestly would have played out really good, especially with Simu Luce. I apologize if I'm saying his name wrong. With him leading it, I think this would have led out better as a action movie or a action thriller or something like that, because some of the in-between episodes weren't necessarily needed, but it did help flesh it out. But I could see a lot of those scenes being compressed and put into a longer, maybe like a 2-hour action movie. So that's just my opinion, but this was a really good watch. I think you guys should go check it out. And this is the last video, last binge, last everything of 2025. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. Keep coming back for more in 2026. I hope to see you then. And this is everything. Happy New Year. And I will see you next year, tomorrow, however you want to say it. And bye.